We are at Ward Field in Kenilworth, the home of the Brearley Bears, our number 2 ranked team. Today they face our number 10 ranked Verona Hillbillies. This is the semifinals of North Jersey Section 2, Group 1. Hello everyone, welcome to Ward Field. I'm Paul Spahala. Today the semifinals in North Jersey Section 2 Group 1. Brearley comes in as the top seed. They are our number 2 ranked team in our TV3 top 10 poll. The number 4 seeded team, the Verona Hillbillies, currently number 10 in our TV3 top 10 poll. Working with me on the sidelines today, Bill Horry. Bill, a gentleman who knows quite a bit, especially about the Verona coach, Rich Sanfilippo, because for several seasons, Rich was an assistant coach at Glenridge High School to Bill Horry.
You know, Richard Sanfilippo is going to be a well-prepared coach this afternoon, as will Bobby Taylor, obviously. Both of their scout teams so much resemble the teams that they play that they're not going to fool anybody. They're going to try to fool anybody.
On paper, just the size of the players would favor the Brearley Bears. They outweigh Verona players on the line by 40, sometimes 50 pounds. Verona might have a little edge in speed, but Bill, it's going to be tough to offset that edge in size.
Yes, it is, and Verona is a quick team. They're a tough team. They may not be particularly big, but they're strong. They're quick. They're strong. They're like cats, and they'll fight every inch of the way. They won't give an inch. I know that. They've played big teams, and they've done well against big teams. They're most certainly not conceding anything to Brearley.
One of those big, strong kids for Verona, their fullback and a man who will play a little bit of linebacker, a little bit as a cornerback, Frank DiGiacomo.
Well, Frank typifies this Verona team. He's just a tough kid. He's got good speed. He doesn't have blazing speed, but he's got good speed. He's got excellent moves. He'll fight for every yard. On defense, you know, he's always around the ball, whether he's playing safety or corner. He's got a piece of the ball carrier, and he pretty much typifies the attitude of this Verona team.
Verona peaking at the right time last week to get into these playoffs. They had to beat a great Mountain Lakes team on the road to qualify as the number 4 seed. The number 1 seed, unbeaten so far, the Brearley Bears. Bill, they run that option offense, something that Verona hasn't seen all year. What kind of difficulties will Brearley's offense present to the Hillbillies?
Well, the primary difficulty that they're going to present is that quarterback. That quarterback is so quick, and he's so fast, and he's so elusive. When he runs the ball, and he does run the ball 6 or 7 times a ball game out of the veer, he can go all the way. He's got runs of 17, 18 yards. He can break the big play himself, or he can pitch off. He's in total command, and above everything else, as their coach has indicated, he's a winner, you know.
That's Mike Ramos this year. He has run for great yardage. He has thrown for 801 yards. He's an outstanding player. Watch today how long he holds on to that football before he pitches back. Bill, 2 great teams. Unfortunately, because of the playoffs, one's got to go home a loser today.
Yes, that is unfortunate, but such is the case in this game of football. And today, you know, there can't be a tie. There's got to be a winner.
We're going to have the kickoff in just a moment. We will return to Ward Field in Kenilworth for our matchup between Brearley and Verona in the semifinals of North Section 2, Group 1. Of North Jersey Section 2 Group 1. We are at Ward Field in Kenilworth, the home of the Brearley Bears. Brearley in their blue and white home uniforms, Verona in the white and maroon. There you see the Bears. Currently 8-0 on the season. Closest game they played was a 14-13 victory over Roselle. The respective team captains meeting out at midfield with our officiating crew. Gentleman in the middle in the white hat, that is John Bennett. On the far left side is our field judge, Al Goldberger. Next to him is George Strank, who is going to be the head linesman. Second man from the right is Bob Terwilliger. I'm sorry, Bob is on the far right, and Ron Wack is second from right. Those are the officials for today's game. And we should mention Leo Spirito is the clock operator. He is sitting next to me up here in the press box.
And you can almost hear those butterflies, can't you?
And they are ready for this football game. They want to get that kickoff underway. Mr. Bennett ready to make the coin toss.
See this coin here? That's the head, that's the tail.
Joe Gannon, wearing number 74 for Verona, he will make the call.
Toss it. Call it while it's in the air. Reset his tail. That's the tail. You want to talk. You want to receive. What goal you want to defend? You want to defend that goal or kick it out?
There you hear the explanation that Verona has won the toss and they have elected to receive. There is Rich Sanfilippo. Sanfilippo in the playoffs as a head coach. In 1980, he brought Glen Ridge here to Kenilworth as a neutral field where they defeated Roselle Park in a one-game championship. In 1981, they lost to Brearley here at Kenilworth in the first round in an exciting overtime game. In 1982, again a one-game championship, they defeated New Providence. However, in 1983, New Providence returned the favor by beating Glen Ridge in the first round of play. Now in 1984, in Rich's last year at Glen Ridge, and then in 85 and 86, his first 2 years at Verona, his team did qualify. They were eligible for the playoffs, but they were not invited due to the PowerPoint system. So Rich has had a great career in the playoffs, and one game we didn't mention there because Rich was an assistant coach back in 1977, right on this field as an assistant coach at Glen Ridge to Bill Horry. They defeated the Brearley Bears in the state championship game. There are the three deep backs for Verona: D'Angelo, Costigan, and Fader, awaiting the kick of Pudge Olenek. And we are almost ready for football here at Ward Field. The North Jersey Section 2 Group 1 semifinal. As we are playing, so are they playing in New Providence, Cedar Grove, and the Pioneers. The two winners to meet 2 weeks from today. If Brearley wins, they would be the home team. Followed in order by New Providence, Cedar Grove, and Verona cannot host a game. Kick fielded at around the 20-yard line, and finally brought out to the 28-yard line for Verona by Mike Burns. So Burns returns the kickoff to the 29, and that's where Verona will start from. The Hillbillies line up this way: Pete Jordan, Brian McCormick, Mike DeVoe, Joe Gannon, and John Casal are the offensive linemen. The backs are Frank DiGiacomo and Mark D'Angelo. Stan Costigan in the slot, Mike Fader, Barry Wallace are the ends. The quarterback is Chris Lombardi. Lombardi has thrown for 801 yards and 5 touchdowns this season. He gives to D'Angelo, and D'Angelo breaks into the secondary. He's got 15 yards. D'Angelo still on his feet. He's still moving past midfield, and finally, it is Dan DeChellis who has to come all the way from the defensive line to run down Mark D'Angelo. Here's a look at it. The first play is a big one for the Hillbillies.
Well, it's a counter play, and what they did was they took advantage of the fact that Brearley was going to be a little anxious, and they flew to the first sign of movement, and they countered back the other way and got good yardage, found a little seam, and then got about 15 yards all by himself.
And finally, DeChellis, and Olenek had to chase him down. Lombardi wants to throw on first down. He's looking long for Fader, and Fader has it at the 10-yard line. Fader falls down at the 2. Lombardi to Fader all the way down to the 2. It's a 40-yard completion.
You know, we never mentioned this, Paul, but, you know, Verona's going to open it up. They got nothing to lose. They're the underdogs. They're going to do the unexpected, and that certainly was the unexpected. What a great
catching
play.
It at the 12, and he just couldn't keep his footing, or he was in. First and goal. The Hillbillies line up in the I. The give to D'Angelo, and Mark D'Angelo is in, and it's somewhat of a shock. It takes 3 plays for the Verona Hillbillies to march down the field 71 yards. Mark D'Angelo caps it with the 2-yard touchdown run.
Paul, we never even got a chance to call out the Brearley defense, did we?
We'll get a chance to look at them next time Verona has the ball, but quickly the Hillbillies take the 6-0 lead. John Casal will stay on the field to attempt the extra points.
A counter, a fly, and an off tackle, and that was it.
Fader is the holder. The placement is there, the kick on the way, and it is good. So, after 1 minute and 1 second of football, the Verona Hillbillies lead 7-0.
That was a shock, wasn't it, Paul? None of us expected that to happen, you know. You'd think they'd try to get the feel of the ball or run off tackle a little bit. Nope, they ran a counter, took advantage of the aggressive Brearley defense, put one up in the air on a fly pattern to Fader, who's an outstanding receiver. Chris Lombardi threw a strike. Bingo, they were down on the 1 yard line and off tackle. They made it look so easy, didn't they? No,
61 seconds into the ball game. It is 7-0 in favor of the Hillbillies. And it will be John Casal kicking the ball away for Verona. There's a look at John, senior, two-way tackle, back deep to receive Brian Chalensky and Mike Ramos.
You know, I was over watching Verona one day this week, and I looked at the kids and I said, you know, you're supposed to be underdogs. And they looked at me like I was nuts. You know, what do you mean underdogs? We're going to win, they said.
Verona 3 plays to go the distance. D'Angelo scoring, and it is 6-0 Hillbillies.
Brearley will come back, I'm sure. They're a quality team. They got a quality program under a quality coach, and most certainly this is going to tighten the score a little bit.
Fielded up front. The ball hit off of Casal's foot, and Brearley starts in excellent position at their own 40-yard line. This is the way the Bears will line up. Chuck Mogensen, Pat Krayoski, Pat Olenek, Elio Siragusa, and Dan DeCellis are the linemen. Brian Chalensky, the fullback. Stacy Marshall is the tailback. Joe Squilaro, the flanker. The tight end is Corey Bowl. The split end is John Blum. And the quarterback is Mike Ramos. First down, the give to Chalensky. Chalensky for 1. Defensively, Verona lines up in a 4-4. The front line is Chris Crawford, John Casal, Brendan Byrne, and Barry Wallace. The linebackers outside, Mark D'Angelo and Anthony Martino. Inside, Anthony Mariani and Joe Gannon. And the deep backs for the Hillbillies are Mike Fader, Stan Costigan, and Frank DiGiacomo.
You know, you indicated in the pregame that Verona has not faced a Veer team all year. Well, they faced a Veer team every day this week.
Here's Ramos. He pitches back to Chalensky. The ball is loose, and he is covered up immediately by Anthony Martino. A loss of 10.
And I don't know of a better way to defense Veer than handle a quarterback right down the line and cover the pitch man, and they did it just perfect. And believe me, they've worked on that all week.
3rd and 19 coming up for the Bears. Let's see if they go to the air. If they do, keep an eye on senior split end number 24, John Blum.
Yeah, he's a good one.
He already has over 400 yards in receptions. He is split left. Squilaro is to the right. Ramos is going to go for Blum. Blum has it across the middle. It's a catch of about 16 yards. The Bears will be about 3 shy of a first down.
And did you see that hit by Frank DiGiacomo? It's pretty typical of the way he hits, incidentally.
So a 16-yard pickup for Blum, but the Bears will have to give it away on 4th down. Olenek back to do the punting. And finally, Costigan gets back to receive for the Hillbillies. Snap is low. Olenek does get the kick away. It's a wobbly kick. It will land at the 30. It's fielded by Fader, and Fader will fall forward to the Verona 30-yard line.
Fader's a boy that caught that pass before. He's got excellent hands. He happens to be an excellent basketball player.
Let's meet the Brearley defense right now. Defensively, they go 6 men up front. Tony Millis, Dan DeCellis, Chuck Mogensen, Pat Olenek, Elio Siragusa, and Travis Marshall. The 2 linebackers are Corey Bowl and Brian Chalensky. And Brearley goes 3 deep backs, John Lynch, Mike Ramos as the safety, and Rich Godosky as the corner. 1st and 10, the ball just across the 30-yard line.
And here's a new formation. Verona hasn't used too much of this. This is a single back formation. It's the kind of formation that you like to throw the ball with, but they obviously, once again, they did the unexpected. They ran a fullback up the middle.
DiGiacomo for 3.
DiGiacomo's a tough runner, isn't he?
Tough-nosed fella, 5'11", 180. Missed 3 games with a separated shoulder. That occurred in a scrimmage against Caldwell. Costigan split wide right. Pro set. Pitch back to DiGiacomo. There's a flag on the play. And DiGiacomo is going nowhere, but we have a flag thrown into the pile, I believe, for a face mask. So I think we're going to get offsetting penalties here.
I think you're right. Motion on the offense and illegal motion.
Now here's a look at DiGiacomo trying to come outside. You see Gadowski is the first man to hit him, and then eventually somewhere among the 4 or 5 that are grabbing in here. I didn't quite see the face mask. I saw someone face mask Gadowski.
Oh, there's a clip that we must have missed.
Oh, so that was the penalty. It was a clip, not a face mask.
Clip by the offense.
Here's another look at it. Let's not be looking for a face mask. That wasn't it.
Clip on there, no. Maybe it happened inside someplace, but that obviously didn't look like a clip.
Obviously no face mask on the runner. But it is a clipping call.
Now my wager is on a draw play. Got a nice screenplay too that he might run. We'll see it before the day's up, I'm sure. Although this is a pretty good spot for it. A lot of yards to make up.
Approximately 23. Second down, split end left is Fader.
High formation.
DiGiacomo for about 3 yards.
Giacomo's about 180 pounds, but you notice it's taken about 3 or 4 people to bring him down. Those legs keep moving. Look at Bobby Taylor. He's right in the ball game now.
Third down, still long distance for the Hillbillies. Again, Fader split left. On the draw play, they go to D'Angelo. D'Angelo has some running room, and it is Cholensky who hits him first. And D'Angelo fights forward. He will end up about 2 yards shy of a first down. It will be 4th down for the Hillbillies.
Very good call, very good play, good execution.
On the season, D'Angelo with 814 yards coming into today's game.
He's a tough runner.
He already has halfway to a 100-yard game. 4th and 2. Costigan will punt. Gets away the kick. Ramos fields it, going backwards, has it at the 24. Ramos gets a good block from Cholensky on the near sideline, and he's pushed out of bounds. He is out of bounds at the 42. So Ramos getting a nice block from Cholensky. Got a nice, I would call it about a 13-yard return. And that will set the Bears up on offense for the second time today. The Bears will start from their own 43, 1st and 10.
We haven't seen too much of this Bear offenses yet.
3 plays and a punt the first time they had possession.
They're going to have to get on track. They made a living all year long running the veer, and they can't get away from it.
Blum split wide right, Squilaro to the left. Fumble, but Ramos got it back. Ramos and Marshall banged into each other on the handoff. I'm sorry, that was Cholensky and Ramos. The ball popped free and Ramos covered it up. No gain on the play.
You know, every time they've run the veer, the 2 times they've run that veer, contact has been made right at the exchange. And defensively, that's just what you want to do. You want to make contact right there, see? And that's what you're trying to do, and that's what you coach all week long.
And the Bears have called a timeout. So here early in the first quarter, Brearley asks for time. They use their first of 3 allotted. Verona with 97 total yards, 71 of which, came on that opening drive where they put the first 7 points up on the board. In case you joined us late, you missed a long run by Mark D'Angelo, a long pass from Chris Lombardi to Mike Fader, and then a 2-yard touchdown run by Mark D'Angelo. The extra point added by John Casal, and that's where we stand right now. Verona 7, Brearley nothing.
Two of the people that made that first run possible, Joe Gannon and John Casal, they did the trapping. They ran the counter, see. They came across the back of the line of scrimmage and did the trapping to open a hole.
2 weeks ago, we were here at Ward Field to watch Brearley beat Roselle Park and capture the 6th Mountain Valley Championship. 2nd and 10. Verona showing blitz. Fake to Marshall. Ramos is going to keep this one. Now he's going to pitch back to Chelensky. This is where they're so dangerous. It's a first down, and it's a pickup of 15 on the play. This is where the Brearley offense is so dangerous. Ramos holding on to the football. 90 times out of 100, that quarterback would run with the ball, but Ramos pitched it back to Chelensky, who is closing in on a 700-yard season.
That's the first time they run the outside veer. They ran the inside veer the other times. That was the first time they ran the outside veer. And whoever it was, and I believe it was the Ed, who had containment assignment on the quarterback for whatever reason, went for the fake.
Verona was showing blitz, and they did send someone up the middle, and that weakened them outside. Ramos looking to throw. He's going to go long for Blum, and it's intercepted by Fader. Fader intercepts the ball, and then Blum tackles him at the 5. For Mike Fader, the interception gives the Hillbillies back the football. On the replay, you'll see that Blum is overthrown, and Fader actually comes up with a great catch defensively. And then Blum with the nice tackle.
Like I said before, he's an excellent athlete. He's an excellent wide receiver, plays defensive safety. Great basketball player, they say.
1,000-point scorer last year. Verona has the ball at their own 5. This may work to Brearley's advantage. Handoff to D'Angelo. And a gain of 5 on the play. The reason I say that is that deep pass is similar to what a punt would have done. So now if Brearley can contain Verona and force the Hillbillies to punt, Brearley would get the ball back at midfield.
Well, I think that Verona's happy that the interception took place.
Oh, no doubt about that. But Brearley...
That was a first down, you remember. That was a first down.
Brearley, it may work possibly in their favor, depending on what happens. If Verona gets a few first downs, then it negates that situation.
Verona wants to get out of there. You know, they want to get up around the 30-yard line. So
pitch back to D'Angelo. And D'Angelo has a first down.
Boy, he's a tough kid.
Under 4 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, they're not real big. They're not what you call burners, you know, but they fight for every yard.
Bob Taylor looking on as a timeout has been called by the officials. Equipment repair to one of the Brearley players. 3:51, and now the clock on the move here in the first quarter. Paul Spahala, Bill Horry on the call. This is the semifinal in North Jersey, Section 2, Group 1.
Verona certainly not playing like they're underdogs.
They have the ball at their own 18. On the draw, the give to D'Angelo. D'Angelo is brought down by Bowl, and also in on the tackle, I believe that is Millis, now wearing number 78.
That was a different kind of draw. That was a sprint draw. The draw we saw before was a drop back draw. This was a sprint draw. Both of them very effective, and that, you know, they're taking advantage of the fact that the Brearley Bears are a little anxious in there. They're big, they're strong, and they're anxious. They fly to the ball.
Gain of 4 on the play, 2nd and 6. Pitch back to D'Angelo going left, and D'Angelo is brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Good pursuit by Elio Siragusa.
Yeah, and I think he's a good one, incidentally.
Yes, he is. He had a very good game 2 weeks ago against Roselle Park.
He's one of the better linemen that I've seen this year, Paul.
Nothing on the play. It'll be still 3rd and about 6.
This is a passing down, which makes it a screen down or a draw down. Let's see what happens.
Well, last time in a long situation, Verona ran the draw well.
Yeah.
Let's see what they do here. Lombardi is going to roll right. He's looking for Costigan. He is not open, and Lombardi will lose a yard on the play. He is dropped by Millis, and the reason Costigan wasn't open, Rich Godosky, the cornerback, was on him, and Lombardi had no chance to throw. Here you see Lombardi. As he looks right, he is looking for Costigan. He is covered. He'll have to put the ball away, and Millis will get him by the ankle. 4th down, Costigan into punt. Ramos back to receive with Chelensky. Ramos has it at the 48, and he is only going to get back to midfield. Martino drops him on the coverage. So Brearley takes over with 1:51 remaining in the quarter, and they are at their own 49-yard line.
I think we'll see a little more of that outside veer based on the success they had the last time they ran it.
The give to Stacy Marshall, and Stacy dances his way forward for 9. Matter of fact, he might even be close enough for a measurement.
Stacy's got good speed. He busted that. Split the guard and the tackle. Linebacker was screened out of the play.
4 touchdowns this season for Stacy.
That's as simple a play as you can get, you know, and it's such an effective play. It's just an old-fashioned dive play is what it is. And all you have to do is split the lineman, get a piece of the linebacker, and, you know, it's good yardage.
Measurement at the other end shows that the ball is short by inches.
And I could hear Richard up here, watch the pass now, because it is most certainly a waist down, if you want to call it that. You know, you can go for the big one. Good time to go for broke, you know, and then if it's not there, why come back and get your first down next time.
About the only thing that can hurt you at this point is a penalty.
Right.
Or a turnover, obviously, but many options here. That playbook widens by about an inch in pages on a second in inches.
You're right. That's the kind of play that you say, let me call it. You know?
There's not too many 2nd and 25 plays in the playbook.
Sure.
Ramos on the keep.
Ramos keeps it.
First down.
Bob Taylor choosing to pick up the first down right away, keep his team on the march. They move the ball inside the Verona 40, goes down to the 37.
John Cassell on the tackle. He's the only fella on that Verona front 4 with any size. He goes about 225, 226.
And he's the only one that goes both ways. Barry Wallace is a tight end. So, in essence, he is on the offensive line, but he also plays defensive end. But for the most part, Cassell is the only two-way lineman. Ramos on the season has carried the ball for an average of 7.3 yards. And this time he gets to Stacy Marshall. Marshall has some blocking outside. Marshall has to run over Squalaro and bring it inside the 15-yard line. I'm sorry, down to about the 18-yard line.
Pretty much the same kind of play, you know. It's a quick hitter. They screen the tackles and get a block on the linebacker.
Big hole.
It's a tough play to defense, especially when you're using an even defense, especially when you're in the 4, when you got men on a guard, men on a tackle.
Stacy with the big pickup, finally brought down by Joe Gannon. The ball is marked officially at the 19. It'll be 1st and 10. The give to Brian Chelensky, and Chelensky will dive forward to the 15.
You got to know, Paul, that offensive line, David Brearley, outweighs the defensive line of Verona about 47 pounds average a man. That's a lot of weight. Now, it wouldn't be if they were just simply fat kids, you know, but they're not. They're big, strong football players.
And that is the end of the first quarter of play, a quarter that has seen Verona jump out in front by a 7-0 score. We'll be right back. Field in Kenilworth, 7-0 advantage for the Verona Hillbillies.
You know, no one ever thought for a second that Brearley was going to lie down and play dead after that initial Verona score. That's made the cheese a little more binding now. Brearley knows what it has to do, and they also know right about now that they're going to be in a ball game unless they start moving.
Our respective head coaches, Rich Sanfilippo at Verona, Bob Taylor at Brearley. Bob has also had an outstanding record in the high school playoffs. We'll talk about his record in a moment. 7-0 lead for Verona. From the 14.
Linebackers are up a little tighter now. Did you notice that?
Fake to Marshall. Ramos pitches back to Chelensky. Chelensky is inside the 10. He fights his way inside the 5, down to the 1.
And what made that play was a block on the defensive safety. They had a block on Fader that time. Fader couldn't get up and contain the pitch man. Now they did a nice job on the quarterback. Fader's supposed to the defensive safety areas, trying to make contact with the ball carrier, but number 15.
That was Joe Squalaro, number 85, who was making the block.
Did a nice job of screening Fader.
The ball at the 1. Ramos fights his way in, and he is in. It's a touchdown for Mike Ramos. It is now a 1-point ball game. Ramos on the quarterback keeper. Ramos just follows Pat Olenek and Elio Siragusa into the end zone. Olenek moves from offensive center to place kicker to try to tie this game at 7 apiece. The snap is low. Lynch does get the ball down, and the kick is good.
Excellent job by Lynch of getting that ball down.
A lot of credit to the holder, John Lynch, a senior. The snap rolled to Lynch. He kept his composure, grabbed it, teed it up, and then Olenek drilled it home for the 7-7 score. Let's take a look at that extra. I don't know, let's look at the touchdown.
He wasn't going to trust, Ramos wasn't going to trust that ball to anybody or anything. He took it himself. And that's what Coach says about him. That was the first thing that Coach Taylor told me about Ramos when I asked about him. He said he's a winner. He wants the football, you know. He wants to be the guy that takes up the challenge. You know, there are a lot of things I'm not sure of in this world, Paul, but one thing I am sure of, both of these teams are well prepared for this ball game. Now look for Verona to do things different. You know, I don't think they can line up, you know, and go right at them. Maybe if they were 2 touchdowns up, maybe they might try that, you know, take some time off the clock. But it's a 7-7 ball game, and they want to get that lead again, and they're going to have to do something different. They're going to have to take a little advantage of the aggressiveness of that Brearley defense.
From the 33, Lombardi looking right. He airs it out for Fader, and Fader does not come up with it because of a nice defensive play by John Lynch. So Lynch, who had a real big game 2 weeks ago against Roselle Park, has contributed now on successive plays from scrimmage, making the nice play on the extra point attempt, and then making this play to get back on defense.
Lombardi put that ball right on the numbers. There's Fader waiting to gobble it up. And then Johnny Lynch gets his hand right in there.
Got his hands in the way, 2nd and 10.
Great play. Otherwise, it would have been 6 points. That's the kind of thing that Verona's going to have to do, though.
Screen right. Intended for DiGiacomo, tipped out of his hands and almost intercepted.
That was originally supposed to be a draw screen. I don't know if you noticed that. If we can see that again. The first part of that play is a draw, you know, and what they hope to do is suck the linebackers up the middle and then throw out to the flat. But they didn't fool the Brearley team. Evidently, they've seen that play before.
Brian Chelensky came close to intercepting the ball.
Smart thing then would have been to just throw it out of bounds. Single back, throwing offense right now. 4 receivers ready to go.
Lombardi looking left. He goes across the middle, and it's incomplete.
Paid a little price for going across the middle there, too. Did you notice? He was popped. Just as the ball hit his hands, he was popped.
The ball was possibly deflected by Bowl, but Ramos, the man who makes the big defensive play. Costigan into punt on 4th and 10. Following 3 incomplete passes, Costigan gets the kick away. It hits at the Brearley 41, and Ramos will watch it roll to the 33. And the Bears will start there with 10:51 left in the half. We are tied at 7 apiece.
Now the Bears are coming off some success running that veer. I think we're going to see a lot more offense out of them right now. I don't know how many times they've been behind. Have they ever been behind before?
They were trailing in the opening game against New Providence, in a game that we televised, 7-0. Then they were trailing in the game against Roselle, 13-7, when Mike Ramos and company engineered a last-minute drive up the field for a 14-13 victory. The gift to Stacy Marshall. Stacy has about 2.
Notice a nice fake after the handoff by Ramos, you know. The play isn't over when he makes the handoff. He continues down the line. He continues with his option fake. He knows how important that is, you know. That little fake is as good as knocking somebody down a lot of times, you know. It'll draw a corner man out. It'll freeze a halfback. It'll do just what it takes to let that halfback go the route.
Movement on the line. As soon as the lineman leaves the 3-point stance, he is guilty of procedure.
And that procedure took place before the snap, so the play doesn't count. Automatically goes back 5 yards, and it's going to be 2nd and 15.
Automatic dead ball foul in high school, moves it back 5, to make it 2nd and 13.
They gained 2 yards on the first down. It's going to be tougher and tougher to split that guard and tackle on that dive play now, because Verona has seen it. You know, they've seen it run with speed. They've seen it run all week, but it wasn't run that quick.
Out of the eye. Give to Chelensky with a big hole. And Chelensky will get the penalty yardage back. Probably 4 on the play. It will make it a 3rd and 8.
He's a good runner, Chelensky. He's not a chip off the old block. He's a big chunk off the old block, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Obviously,
he's a player.
Bill referring to the outstanding Mike Chelensky, graduated last year and now a starting defensive linebacker at Pitt.
Yep, they play at 1 o'clock today.
There you see Brian's stats so far today, 23 yards on the ground. Brian is quite a very good baseball player. Out of the eye. Fake to Chelensky. He's looking for Blum, and Blum almost hauls it in on the sidelines. John Blum made a great dive for the football because he dove with his feet planted in bounds.
There's a flag away from the play.
It's a hold on the Bears.
This will make it either 2nd and 20 or 3rd and 10. Let's see what Coach Sanfilippo decides to do.
As the option is being explained to Joe Gannon. Rich Sanfilippo looking on. And the penalty will be declined because of the incomplete pass. So now it will be 4th down.
4th down, I'm sorry. 4th down.
Short gain on 1st down before the penalty. Chelensky got back some yardage, then the incomplete pass on 3rd down. So Fader is back to receive Olenik's punt.
Single back. They may be trying to block this one.
They're coming hard from the right side. Olenik gets away a high punt. Fair catch called by Fader, and he will put it away at the Verona 34. We should point out a gentleman in a gray sweater on the far sidelines. He's at the Verona 35-yard line. At the game today is Pat Sempier. Pat is a well-known kicking coach in the state of New Jersey. There's a look at Pat. And he has worked with both kickers here today, John Casale of Verona and Pat Olenik. And Pat put this in his time free for no compensation. Deals with players throughout the state of New Jersey, and among his proteges are the outstanding brothers Brian and Tom Withka, who kicked for Bishop R High School. But he has worked with kickers all over the state, and he has quite a reputation.
That play we just saw was a play that opened the series for Verona, the one that got them started, that big 15, 18-yard gain that started. But that time it didn't work quite as well.
Mark D'Angelo today, 8 carries, 68 yards. He has the big touchdown for Verona that got them in front, 7-0. However, right now we're tied at 7 apiece.
Same back, same play, same call, but for whatever reason, the defense didn't cooperate. Now we see double tight end.
Costigan coming in motion. Lombardi rolling left. Pressure is on. He gets it away. It's going to be intercepted by Ramos. Ramos picks it off at the 48-yard line. He's got a blocker in front of him. Bowl throws a nice block, and then Ramos is pushed out of bounds at the 16-yard line. It's the first turnover of the day for Verona. The interception by Mike Ramos. It is his 6th of the season.
Really playing tough zone defense. All the zones were covered. There was really no place to throw that ball. At least I didn't see any place to throw the ball.
Ramos finally pushed out.
Quarterback tried to force that ball. Pardon me. Sometimes you get lucky, you know, and if you do, they say, what a great pass. And if you don't, they say, poor choice.
Mike now goes on offense as quarterback. He's got Squalaro split wide left, Blum to the right. It is Cholensky up the middle. Cholensky for 16 yards, the touchdown and the lead. The Bears are back on top.
And he made that look easy, didn't he?
Brian Cholensky just shot through and went untouched into the end zone.
Saragosa and DeChellis there responsible for that play.
Flag on the play, an illegal motion on the extra point attempt as the Bears try to go for 2.
Now he'll kick it. Or try to kick it.
Now the Bears will move into kicking position. Olenek will kick this one about 27 yards. It is on the way, and it is high and good. So Olenek drills the extra points. And on the first play following the Ramos interception, Cholensky with the touchdown run and then the extra points by Olenek has put the Bears out in front 14-7. Let's take another look at Cholensky on the touchdown run.
Yeah, he's going. He's going now. He finds a little seam. He's got good speed, good moves. He's gone.
Would have been a touchdown in touch football.
Right.
No one got a hand on him.
Would have been a touchdown 40 yards out.
For Brian, his 10th touchdown of the year. He now has 76 points.
Well, let's see if Verona can come back now.
Olenek adding his 20th extra point. Costigan and Fader and D'Angelo back to receive for the Hillbillies. 8:03 left in the half. 14-7, Brearley leads. Kick squibs off to the side. D'Angelo fields it at the 21, and then he is dropped. Dropped at the 17-yard line by Rich Godosky.
Well, they're going to have to call on Chris Lombardi to put the ball up if they're going to score now. I don't think they're going to be able to run through that Brearley defense. I don't think they're going to just be able to run their counters and their off-tackle plays and their pitches. That Brearley defensive line, just a little too physical for them. They're going to have to put the ball up.
Well, they instead go on the ground first play to DiGiacomo, and he is wrapped up quickly by Corey Bowl.
And now, unfortunately, they're in a position where they're going to throw the ball, and the defense knows they're going to throw the ball, and that's not good. You know, that's not where they want to be. They want to be able to throw the ball like they did on that first series when the defense doesn't expect the ball to be thrown.
14-7, Brearley in front here in the Section 2 Group 1 semifinals.
Verona's certainly in the ball game. There's no need for them to panic. You know, they're only one touchdown down.
Lombardi looking to throw. He goes right side, knocked down by Bowl. Double coverage on the left side of Mark D'Angelo, and Bowl got the hand up and knocked the pass away.
Brearley's running 4 men. They're rushing 4 men. They've got 7 men back, and they're all playing zone defense. And every time Verona splits a man or runs a wide flanker, they've got an extra man deep. So sometimes they've got 4 men deep, sometimes they've got 3 men deep. But every time Verona splits on the line or sends men in motion, they go 3 and 4 men deep. They look like they're too deep. But as the play develops, they develop into that 3rd man deep or that 4th man deep.
Holding penalty against the Hillbillies. The Bears will march them back half the distance to the 9.
They can't afford to turn the ball over to Brearley in poor field position. They've got to move the ball a little bit at least.
Lombardi rolling right. He's going to look for Costigan. Instead, he's going deep for Fader, and it is overthrown. He had Costigan short on the left side. He was covered by Godosky, and Lynch and Ramos were covering Fader long.
Well, he was covered, but you know, he's got confidence. He's got a lot of confidence in Mike, and he figures if he puts the ball up there high enough, why Mike has got as good a chance to get it as anybody else, and at the very worst, why he'll turn the ball over. It will be midfield.
3rd down. Lombardi, not much success in his last 5 passes. On the draw play, they go to D'Angelo, and D'Angelo slipped nearing the line of scrimmage, and that allowed the defense to cover up on him.
You know, that Brearley defense is so quick, Paul. They had 8 men making contact on that play. 8 men had a piece of the ball carrier.
Costigan will drop back for his 4th punt of the day. 6:41 left in the half. Snap is low. Costigan has to try and hustle to get this one away. Instead, he's going to try and run with the ball. He is going to be downed at the 12. And a very, very big break for the Brearley Bears. They are in a possible position of blowing this one open, taking a 14-point lead to the locker room. Here's the low snap. Costigan tried to field it on the short hop. Right here, he has to go because Godowski would have blocked any attempted punt.
He had no choice. He did what he could.
So the Bears take over at the 14. Ramos gives to Chelensky. Chelensky up the middle. This time it would not have been touch football. Instead, Chelensky runs over people, and he gets to the 2.
He has the ability to break tackles. He's got enough quickness to change direction at the line. A lot of good backs on the field this afternoon.
Watch Chelensky just run through people. Right there, Costigan, he stands up the tackler. Close enough for a measurement.
They're picking up big chunks of yardage now on simple dive plays. They don't need to run the option, but when they do, you can be sure that
10 yards and the length of the football for Chelensky.
No.
The ball rests at the 3.
When they can make that dive play go as they have, why then everything else is going to go. The other 2 parts of the option are going to be successful.
Marshall and Chelensky in the backfield. The give to Marshall, touchdown. Stacey Marshall with his 5th touchdown of the season.
And what happens is they just bury that defensive line. They just swarm all over. They're just too big for them. They're just too big for them. Siragusa, Olenek, they're just too big.
Olenek on to attempt the extra points.
Chalice on the right-hand side. Siragusa on the right-hand side.
Lynch again will hold. The placement, the kick on the way, and Olenek drills it through the uprights It is Brearley 21, Verona 7. Let's take another look at the touchdown run of Stacy Marshall.
He's running to the right. He's running behind Siragusa and DeChellis. And he's running, unfortunately, at John Cassell, Chris Crawford.
Bob Taylor giving instructions to Pudge Olenek, and I believe he has either instructed him to just kick it deep as opposed to some of the short kicks they've gone with, or specifically to kick it towards the right sidelines where Fader and Costigan are standing.
Paul, just get a list of these statistics for a minute. I'm not one great on statistics. Mogensen, 265. Krajowski, 207. Olenek, 234. Siragusa, 222. DeChellis, 217.
Here comes Olenek. And Olenek does kick it deep. Costigan will field it at the 20. Costigan makes his way up the middle to the 44-yard line. So a very good return by Stosh Costigan.
Now, Verona wants to get back in this ball game. They got to light up the scoreboard once this half at least.
Costigan fields it, and he's on the move quickly. He'll be coming right into your living room. Makes his way out to the 44. Here's an interesting formation. The give to D'Angelo. D'Angelo running right. Millis had a shot at him, and finally it is Siragusa and Olenek who bring him down after a gain of 1.
A little trick play. I haven't seen that before, but it doesn't take into account. It takes into account the size of the Brearley team, but it doesn't take into account their ability to pursue. They get to the football so quick.
I believe the official name for that is a hipper dipper.
Hipper dipper, right.
2nd and 9 for the Hillbillies.
And if it works, you're a genius. If it doesn't work, you're a stupid fellow.
Out of the eye. Looking for Costigan. Lombardi forced from the pocket, and Mogan, no, that is Tracy Marshall. Excuse me, Travis Marshall, who brings him down. There is a flag on the play. And I believe it will either be a clip or a hold. It is a hold. There was a big loss on the play, so it is possible the Bears may just decline this.
I expect they will.
Because they take the down and they get distance anyway.
I don't think you can run laterally too well against that Brearley team. I think you got to run right at them quick. You got to, like that first counter they ran, you got to do something to offset the pursuit.
Loss on the play, the ball brought back. It'll be 3rd and 13 for the Verona Hillbillies, making their first appearance in the state playoffs as a Group 1 school. They've only been Group 1 for the past 2 seasons. Lombardi, we expect him to throw, but we have a whistle before the snap.
I want everybody behind this line. Now, I've been saying it till I'm blue in the face, and that's what
we have an admonition from the judge on this side of the field.
I know it's a big game for you. That's why I want to get all the calls right. I don't want anybody in my way.
He's just asking for the sideline to be cleared.
And he has a right. He's got to get down that sideline, And if he can't get down that sideline, he can't be in a position that he needs to be in to make the right call. And in a big ball game like that, he doesn't want to make any mistakes, and he's certainly within his right.
3rd and 13. Twins right. Across the middle. What a catch by Fader. Fader went up for that one and brought it down in a crowd. Mike Fader, only the 2nd year he's been playing football on the varsity unit. We already mentioned what a great basketball player he is, but watch this catch.
He comes up for that ball, and it was a well-thrown ball, and he come up and he made everything you said about him is true. There's only one thing you left out. Mike Fader, and this is probably the most important factor, Mike Fader's a great, fine gentleman.
I think Doug Gaffney, his basketball coach, has to credit him with his first rebound of the season on that play. The give to D'Angelo. And D'Angelo breaks it for an 8-yard pickup. So possibly Fader's catch on the long gain and the first down inspires the team a little bit. D'Angelo with the pickup of 8.
Now, that's a play. They've run that 3 times. They've had success with it twice. We can look for it to come back. That's that little misdirection play. The play that opened up the game for Verona. They pulled the offside to McCormick and Jordan. They blocked down with Gannon and Casillo.
2nd and 2.
Single back.
And that is DiGiacomo, and he's got 3 and a first down. Now, Bill, again, we've got 16 minutes of football. We've got 24 minutes. I better check my math. 24 minutes of football left in the second half. But is it very crucial right now that Verona get on the board here before the break?
If they want to get back in this ball game, they've got to get on the scoreboard this half. They've got to do something. They've got to be impressive, at least. They've got to prove to themselves that they can move the ball. Because if they can't move the ball now, they're not going to be able to move the ball that second half.
Now I know where 16 minutes came from, because of Fader talking about basketball, that's what a half is in high school basketball, 8-minute quarters. But it's 1st and 10, the ball at the 30. DiGiacomo in motion, and we get a flag. Someone possibly broke the neutral zone. Well, I don't see a flag, so I think we're just going to get... No, we do have now an offsides. An encroachment penalty called against Brearley, although I did not see anyone throw a penalty flag.
Okay, now they're in better position. Now they've got 1st and 5 instead of 1st and 10, and now they can afford to run the ball for 2 downs. They don't have to throw the ball.
The ball now at the 25.
Let's look for that little misdirection again with McCormick and Jordan leading the play. Nope, they're in a twins on both sides, and they run right up the middle.
To DiGiacomo.
Giacomo's 180 pounds. He runs like he's about 210, doesn't he? He hits in there hard.
He's a hard hitter,
yeah.
Both ways.
Him and D'Angelo, they complement each other so well. They're both good, hard runners, and both block well for each other. That's what got them here.
DiGiacomo, a baseball player. D'Angelo is a track athlete. 2nd and 2, a pickup of 3 by Frank DiGiacomo. Twins right. The give to D'Angelo. D'Angelo has the first down as he picks up 4.
They've got to prove that they can move the ball. They've got to prove to themselves that they can move the ball using basic football plays. And that's what they did this last series. Or that's what they've done so far. That's what they've got to get in with.
We've just crossed the 2-minute mark. The ball resting at the 18-yard line.
They have 2 timeouts left as far as I know. I think they used 1.
Brearley used 1. I don't believe Verona did. Pitch back to D'Angelo. D'Angelo cracks the 15 and is pushed back there. And of course, when you have the football, you can stop it as often as you want. But Verona does choose to use a timeout here. I believe that is their first.
So they've got certainly enough time, a minute 31. Important thing is they've got to get in. They don't get in, why it's going to be a tough, long second half, I'm afraid, for them. Coach Sanfilippo, he knows that too.
1:31 left in the half. Verona does have 2 timeouts. They have the football, so they can stop the clock with sideline passes or even an incomplete pass.
Verona now is down by 14 points. In 1977, going into the half, Glenridge was down by 14 points.
On this very football field.
Yep, on this very football field.
As a matter of fact,
I remember it well.
As I recall from you telling me, with 4 minutes to go, Glenridge had an apparent touchdown but fumbled the ball away into the end zone and still came away with the win.
We got lucky. Our kids played well that game.
2 timeouts apiece left. And Verona will try to make the most use of them.
You know, it's a funny thing. You speak to these teams, and I did before the game, you know. Both these teams, both the people on these teams figure they're going to win the game. Both coaches thought they're going to win the game. Isn't that strange? Everybody thought they were going to win the game. Somebody's got to lose it.
Half of them will be right.
Right.
From just inside the 15. Pitch back to DiGiacomo. He cuts it inside, a gain of possibly 5. Travis Marshall and Elio Siragusa combined for the tackle.
Not bad position. 3rd down and about 2 to go. They've got 1:17. They've got to get this first down.
They go quickly, trying to conserve the clock. Lombardi rolling right. He's got Fader. Fader hauls it in at the 8. And Fader is going to be dragged out of bounds at the 5. So Mike Fader with another reception.
He's playing good football. Somehow I knew he would.
Watch number 11 break free.
Yep.
He's out in the open.
Good hands, puts it away.
And Lynch will drag him out at the 5. Clock is stopped, and now Brearley has asked for a timeout with 1:06 remaining. Mike Fader today, 3 catches for 63 yards.
You know, it seems like a good position to be in, but that Brearley team is so big and strong up front, you could almost discount running right at them. They get those 4 men up, they're going to be in an 8-man front. They're normally in a 6-man front. They're going to be in about an 8-man front.
Bob Taylor has coached several years in the playoffs. In 1977, they lost to Glen Ridge in the championship game we've mentioned. In 1981, they beat Roselle for the championship of Section 2 Group 1. In 85, they beat Roselle Park for the sectional title. Then in 1986, they defeated Roselle Park again in the championship game. Last season, they lost to Mountain Lakes in the first round of the state playoffs, 25-22.
You know, these people, I have to say this, you know, and I don't say it often, these people at Brearley are just the nicest people that I've ever run into. They make you feel like you're part of the family when you come down here.
First and goal from the 5. Fumble. It is covered up by Lombardi. 1 minute to go exactly, and now Verona will either have to hurry or use a timeout. They're going to hurry, and I'm sure they're going to use the same play that they had lined up for. No, instead they split 2 men to the right. They're a bit confused. 13 seconds have run off the clock. Lombardi calling signals. He's rolling right. Fader's in the end zone. Costigan to the right. The play going for Costigan is tipped away by Godowski. That will stop the clock with 38 seconds remaining. Still plenty of time, but it will be 3rd down. And now Rich Sanfilippo will start to run into a decision. If they do not score here, does he bring the field goal unit on? Or does he almost go for broke at this point?
Officials are calling offside
Penalty.
Verona.
Motion penalty. And certainly the Bears will take the yardage and give 2nd down back to the Hillbillies.
I don't know. Makes it 3rd and 5 or 2nd and 10.
And Bob Taylor says move them back. Take the 5 yards.
That shows confidence in your defensive line, defensive team, doesn't it? Give them an extra down.
In one slight aspect, the extra distance now gives you a little bit more passing room in the end zone.
That's true. That's true. Also makes it a little more difficult to run that ball in.
Of course, you got now twice as much yardage to go, but it does open passing lanes slightly, so a slight benefit for the Hillbillies here.
They're in a passing formation now with single back.
2nd and goal
4 wide
from the 10.
receivers.
Fake on the pitch. Lombardi rolling left. Looking left. He throws for Costigan, and it's in and out of his hands. Costigan can't believe he didn't come up with that one. Here's a look at it from the end zone.
I think it was tipped just before it got to him.
Well, we'll get a good look at it right here.
Good move by Lombardi to get it away at all.
And Bill, you're right. Corey Bowl got a hand on it. So don't be too hard on Stan Costigan. That ball was deflected. 31 seconds to go. It is 3rd and goal from the 10, and now Verona has called time.
Now is the time for that hipper dipper we spoke of. Isn't that funny? I know just what I'd call if I were down on the
I was just about to ask you.
What I would call.
What would come out of the Glen Ridge playbook at this moment?
Okay, right now I'd send double flanker to one side. I'd send my flankers across the field, one up the middle, one to the opposite safety. I'd bang my tight end on their tee. I'd hold them up for 10 seconds, and I'd sprint them for the corner and try to hit the tight end in the corner.
My goodness.
Did you get that?
I wish we had a telestrator that you could show us that. Rich Sanfilippo, 4 years as the head coach at Verona. Records of 7-2, 7-2, 4-5, and 7-1, and that translates into 25 victories, 10 defeats. He spent 6 years as the head coach at Glen Ridge, where he was 42-13. So overall, Rich Sanfilippo, 67 wins, 23 defeats in his coaching career.
I think we have here on the field today two of the finest high school coaches in the state. I really feel that way, you know. I'm just not saying it because they're friends of mine.
Two very respected coaches.
Oh, these are outstanding people.
3rd and goal from the 10. Out of the eye. Fader is being double teamed. Lombardi looking for Fader, and he almost comes up with it. He had to turn from one shoulder to the other. He was covered tightly by John Lynch. Now it is 4th and goal from the 10, and I have seen no movement from the sideline, so it appears that Rich Sanfilippo has decided to go for 7.
A field goal doesn't do very much for him. Field goal does very little for him.
Timeout. Verona does want to at least talk about the play that they're going to use.
They have one play to get in. They may as well sit down and talk about it. And if we see 2 wide receivers on one side and a tight end on that side, you know what to look for.
And as Bill was saying, a field goal really doesn't do much. It would make it an 11-point game, which is still a 2-possession ball game. You would need another field goal, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion just to tie.
An opposite sprint out might work here too, you know.
By the way, here's a notice for Brearley alumni and friends. On the evening before Thanksgiving, this coming Wednesday, November 23rd at 6:30, there will be an alumni dinner in the Brearley Cafe and a reception at the PBA Hall in town. If you're interested in going to the dinner, for information, call Dave Curtin at 276-6270. That's for information on the Brearley alumni dinner.
You know, I got to be so much a part of the family, I did get an informal invitation to that affair.
In that shot, you see, there were 2 gentlemen up on the top row of the stands in green jackets. They are from New Providence. They are here scouting. 4th and goal from the 10. Lombardi looking right. Fader across the middle. Intended for Fader, knocked away, but interference. Interference in the end zone. High school ball, remember, it's going to be a half the distance penalty.
And both flags went at the same time. There's no question. There is no controversy whatsoever. Brearley knew it.
Fader was
Coach
going
Taylor
down.
knew it. He didn't particularly like it, I'm sure, but he knew it.
Now the ball will probably be marked approximately at the 5, where it would be 1st down. So a brand new set of downs for Verona. And as we've mentioned several times already, throw in the end zone, throw out of bounds. They can stop the clock in any number of ways. However, they cannot call a timeout. As you see, they have used their allotted 3 timeouts.
You can expect to see them throw the ball.
Here comes Lombardi, looking right. He's got D'Angelo. He's got Wallace across the middle. It's tipped away, and it's intercepted by Ramos. It was tipped away and intercepted by Mike Ramos. And that will nullify the Verona drive for Ramos, his 7th interception of the season, 2nd of the day. Let's see if we can pick up who tips this ball. It is tipped away by Millis. Tony Millis, who's wearing number 78, tipped the ball up, and Mike Ramos comes away with the interception.
Always that good athlete that comes up with the ball. Isn't that always the case, you know?
Clock is moving. Brearley will not even have to snap the football, and they will head to the locker room with a 21-7 lead as the defense holds at the end of the 2nd quarter. Welcome back, everyone, to Ward Field. 21-0, our halftime score. John Casal will kick it away. Verona actually outrushing Brearley and outpassing Brearley, but 2 big turnovers by the Hillbillies.
Such is the case so many times. It's not what you do, it's what you should have done or shouldn't have done.
Casal kicks it away. Ramos will field it at the 15. And Ramos will get his way out to the 24. 21-0, our halftime score. And one of the biggest plays of the half took place with about 14 seconds to go. A pass tipped by Tony Millis and intercepted by Mike Ramos. Here's a look at that play.
It's on the Brearley 5-yard line.
And there Ramos picks it off. And that was the big play of the first half. Blum completion is knocked out of bounds. Now the reason that was such a big play, 21-14 game is a whole different complexion. Brearley today had slow going early, 3 plays punt, turned it over on an interception, then a 6-play drive for a touchdown, punted on their next possession.
Certainly that was a fine play by Fader on that first down play. He doesn't make that stop and he's still running.
Here comes Stacy Marshall, and Stacy is out to the 40-yard line.
Stacy runs hard. That's his brother that plays defense.
That is right. Travis plays defense, Stacy on offense. First quarter, Verona started off the scoring on D'Angelo's touchdown run at 10:59. Brearley then got on the board to tie it at 11:38 of the second quarter on a Ramos quarterback sneak. Cholensky from 16 yards out made it 14-7. And the Marshall 2-yard touchdown run at 5:54 puts us where we are at 21-7. Ramos, forced from the pocket, has to throw it away. And I tell you, no flag there.
No, there was somebody in the area. Lynch was in the area. He's on that half of the field, let's put it that way.
JV, I'm sort of one.
You can hear some of the JV players on the sidelines talking about their exploits this year. And although this is a heavily dominated senior team for Brearley, Bob Taylor and his coaching staff very confident that the next few years actually hold continuing bright things for the Bears based on what their underclass teams have done. 2nd and 10. Fake to Marshall, fake to Cholensky, and Ramos keeps it. Now Mike Ramos goes 5'9", 160, and every inch and every pound is a football player.
And if Mark D'Angelo doesn't make that stop on Ramos, Ramos is still running. You know, you have to assign a man to each offensive player. There's somebody has got to handle the quarterback on the inside belly. There's somebody else handles the quarterback on the outside belly. There's somebody covers a pitch man on both the inside and outside belly. And so one man blows an assignment, and this is what happens.
Here's Brian Cholensky. He pounds it inside the 45. It is a first down for the Bears.
Somebody's got to handle a dive man, first of all.
Well, here's a look at that option series. The give to the dive man, Cholensky.
Somebody handles a dive man, somebody handles a quarterback, and somebody has to handle a pitch-out man. If there's a breakdown, then he's placed along that line. Why, goodbye. Now, the important thing is, offensively, is for that quarterback to make the right decision.
From just inside the 45, the give to Marshall. Marshall fumbles. Marshall was fighting for extra yardage, and then the ball popped free, and the fumble is recovered by Stan Costigan. Here's a look at that play, and watch Marshall fight for extra yardage, and then the ball will pop free. And right here it comes loose, helped a little bit by Joe Gannon.
And here's Costigan. He's around the ball wherever the ball is.
By the way, just as a reminder, Verona today scoring on their first touchdown, on their first possession, a touchdown, and then punt, punt, punt. They did not have much success after that touchdown. Here's D'Angelo, who got that first touchdown and also set it up with a long run.
Well, you know, if they can do that, if they can run off tackle and get 8 yards like they just did, just simply, you know, lead blocking, off tackle play, if they can continue to do that, maybe they'll be able to throw a little more effectively.
Next time Verona had possession, it was an interception by Ramos. They turned it over on downs. And then after a 14-play drive, we showed you again that big interception by Mike Ramos. D'Angelo running outside. He dives forward. He will be about a yard shy of a first down. It will be 3rd and 1. Just a little signal of what Brearley football has upcoming. The JV team has recorded 7 straight victories by shutout.
We have a 3rd and 1.
And for those coaches in the Mountain Valley Conference who were going to attend the Brearley graduation ceremonies to say goodbye to all these great players, that's just a slight warning that there are still good things on the way at Brearley High School. Third down, about a yard to go. D'Angelo nearing the 100-yard mark today. Instead, it is DiGiacomo who gets the call. He has the first down. The ball is loose, but well after the whistle. And DiGiacomo will have a first down for the Hillbillies at the 46-yard line of Brearley.
First down is so important. They get good yardage in first down, and they can pretty much dictate what they want to do. Now, they don't get good yards. It's 2nd and 10, and they've got to do something, and the defense gets set for the pass.
Give to D'Angelo. And with those 3 yards, Mark D'Angelo has cracked the 100-yard mark today. Here's a look at Mark D'Angelo breaking the century mark.
He's a good back. Now, he gets hit up in here. He carries forward another 2-3 yards. Just on desire.
Olenek finally drops him.
Olenek's that nose man.
Now it's official. Bill Bromberg giving us the official 101-yard mark. Lombardi throwing long, and he overthrows Fader. I don't know. Now, Fader broke off his deep route and cut inside of Ramos. And I don't know whether Lombardi just overthrew or whether he didn't read the cut that Fader made. Either way, it's an incompletion.
Or he saw that Fader was double-teamed and threw it away.
Chris Lombardi, only 3 of 12 this afternoon. He came in 63 of 125. And all 3 completions are to Mike Fader. Let's see if he goes back to Mike. Fader is split wide right. He is drawing double coverage from Godotsky and Chelensky. Lombardi looking over the middle, and he won't get the pass off. Elio Siragusa sacks him for a loss of 2.
No place to throw, nobody free, and that was a tackle, or that was a play that was made by the defensive secondary.
Exactly. Watch Lombardi's looking, no one to throw to. And finally, Elio drops him in the backfield.
Just a certain amount of time you can keep that defensive line, keep them contained, especially a kid like Elio Siragusa, he's going to get to you sooner or later.
4th and 9. Lombardi throwing long for D'Angelo. D'Angelo has it for the first down. Lombardi throwing out of the backfield to D'Angelo.
Just man coverage out there. He just had one defender, and the ball was put where it had to be in order to be caught.
Mark D'Angelo, first down on the Brearley 19-yard line.
Now, once again, they get in here pretty early in this quarter, and they're back in this ball game.
Out of the eye, and certainly this game is not over by a long shot. Lombardi on the draw to D'Angelo. D'Angelo cuts across the grain. D'Angelo working his way inside the 10, and Ramos brings him down at the 7.
There are about 4 people had shots at him. 4 people had shots at D'Angelo.
Very similar to the run D'Angelo had on the first carry of the day. Look at this. He'll just break through tackles, and finally it is Ramos who has to come up from the secondary.
You try to grab him with your hands, and he's going to break your arm. He's going to break through. You got to put a shoulder in if you're going to stop him up near the line of scrimmage.
Timeout. Brearley. 11th first down for the Verona Hillbillies. We do give our thanks to Verona AD Doug Gaffney, Brearley AD Tom Santaguida.
They're 2 fine gentlemen.
And Doug is getting ready for the basketball season. He's keeping a special eye on Mike Fader. Soccer season ended last night at Trenton State, at least for the boys. You'll get a chance to see the Group 4 state championship game. Our number 1 ranked Columbia Cougars taking on Shawnee, the representative from South Jersey. You can watch this one Thanksgiving afternoon at 2:30 right here on TV3, the boys' Group 4 state championship game.
Doug Gaffney, instead of worrying about his basketball team this winter, he should be practicing his backhand. His backhand's awful.
Bill Horry, a well-known tennis hustler, in the northern Jersey area. Among those he has beaten, Bob Taylor. He's beaten Rich Sanfilippo.
Right. You got him.
He has not beaten Paul Spahala because I will not go on the court with him. 6:20 left in the third quarter.
Passing formation, motion right. They got tripped right.
Pitch to
They pitch out.
D'Angelo.
It's a good play.
D'Angelo touchdown. An 8-yard touchdown run by Mark D'Angelo, and the Hillbillies are back in the football game.
Very good play. Everybody figured past then, including myself, and he pitched out, and he decided that he had trips. Good blocking downfield, and they're right back in the ball game.
Verona turns the turnover into 6 points, and now Casal will try to add the 7th point.
And all of these points are important.
21-13 the score. The placement is there, the kick on the way, and it is drilled through the uprights. And we've got a 21-14 football game.
Either one of these teams would pack it in, you know. You'd think that Brearley would be in shock after that initial score. They came right back to score 3 times. Now Verona's come back after failing it just before the end of the second quarter, you know.
D'Angelo with his second touchdown of the day.
See how important that turnover was just before the half now, Paul? That interception?
Very big, because we could be looking at a tie football game. So 2 big turnovers. The one that Brearley took away at the end of the half kept it a 14-point game. And now Verona with their own takeaway on the fumble. They convert that into an 8-play, 58-yard drive, 6 on the ground, and 2 big passes. Remember, it was 4th and 9 when Lombardi hit D'Angelo out of the backfield. D'Angelo then capped it off on the touchdown run. John Casal adding the extra point. Casal, as you see from the football, is going to try and swim it downfield.
I guess they're a little concerned with the deep backs. They'd rather hit it to one of the intermediate backs.
Well, both Marshall brothers are standing at the 35. The ball takes off. What a wild hit on that ball.
Free ball. Free ball.
That is true. It's a free ball, finally covered up by the Bears. At times we forget that any kickoff is, in essence, an onside kick.
All it needs to do is travel 10 yards, Paul. Once it travels 10 yards, it's anybody's ball.
It is covered up by the Bears, however, and they will start possession from their own 27. That ball had a wild amount of backspin on it.
Yeah. Hard ball to catch, too.
6:12 left in the third quarter of play. Brearley leads 21-14. They have the football. They send split ends either side. Instead, they run up the middle to Brian Chalensky. Brian makes 2 on the play.
Every series now is a big series. You know, we could mention this as one of the bigger series, but every series from here on in is going to be a big series.
Big for Brearley in that they would like to get some yardage and use up the clock, not necessarily having to score, because, again, the clock is their friend right now.
Right, but big for Verona because they get the football back there. They're on a roll, you know.
Brian Chalensky, 61 yards on the ground today. He'll get an opportunity for a few more, and he might have made 2 on the outside of the line.
Now we're talking about big downs. Here's a big down. It's 3rd and 4. Verona stops them now, and they're going to get the ball in pretty good field position, somewhere around midfield.
Here's a look at Brian going outside, wrapped up quickly. Third down, very big play from the Brearley 33. The give to Stacy Marshall, and he's not going to have the first down. Instead, he is hit and dropped by Joe Gannon.
Joe Gannon, all 200 pounds of him, boy. He hit him head on. That was a good classic tackle, good shoulder tackle.
Gannon, a 3-year player for Rich Sanfilippo.
There's some good hitters out on that field, good football players.
A lot of contact out on field today. Olenek back to punt. They fake it. Instead, it goes to Burns. No, I'm sorry, that's Ramos. That's Ramos who takes the fake inside Verona territory, and Ramos has a first down.
You know, just before that play started, I heard and I saw Rich Sanfilippo yelling the play in from the sidelines. Watch your fake, and evidently they couldn't hear him or didn't do anything about it.
Ramos brings it to the Verona 46.
Now, I like that on the part of Bobby Taylor. You know, he's playing the game to win it now. Now, he's not playing it not to lose. He's playing it to win, and that's how you play to win. You take those chances.
The give to Brian Chelensky, and Brian gets 2 yards going right.
That's Joe Gannon again. Joe Gannon has got to stop the dive play. I guess those tackles are just outmanned, you know, those interior linemen.
Well, that fake punt took a little of the wind out of the sails of Verona. They just made a big defensive play. But Bob Taylor calling the fake, and Mike Ramos ran it well. There's Rich Sanfilippo on the far sidelines. His team trailing by 7. 2nd and 8. Give to Chelensky. And Chelensky has 4 more.
But he's not breaking free as they did earlier in the game, you know. I think what was happening was the Verona defensive linemen were just being split before. Now they're maintaining their position on the line. They're beating off the blocks.
Well, here's a look at the line and what they do on this particular play.
You see, he beats off his block and he comes back and he makes contact.
That was Chris Crawford on the tackle.
You can't afford to get turned against the dive.
3rd and 5. Ramos throws it out for Blum. It's an incomplete pass. Blum went low for it, but caught it on the 1 hop.
Now we're back to 4th down. You think they're going to do it again, Paul?
Well, here comes the punting unit.
That doesn't mean much. You had the punting unit last time.
At first, I thought they were just going to go for it, but I think the wise choice now is to try and bury Verona deep.
And I think I would. It was good the first time, you know. They did it once. Don't overdo a good thing now. They got to watch that up man. That's the fellow they got to watch.
Ramos calling signals.
No. They faked it, damn.
Well, Olenik's going to run with it. And Olenik's not going to go anywhere. He is covered up by D'Angelo. And I think there might have been some miscommunication there.
Unless Olenik took it upon himself to run the ball.
Here's a look at it. Olenik takes it.
It looks like he wants to run the ball.
I think he thought it was run all the way.
Yeah.
And he gets hurt on the play. Olenik is coming off slightly limping. And there's a look at Pudge.
They're going to need him.
1st and 10. The ball at the Verona 44. D'Angelo. And D'Angelo takes it out to midfield on a gain of 6.
Good 1st down play. He's got about 7 yards on that play, and that's a good 1st down play. And they got the ball midfield. They get 1 more 1st down, and they'll be able to be in 4 down territory, you know. They're moving the ball very well now. This second half, I believe they're moving the ball a lot better than Brearley is.
Ball resting just on the Brearley side of the 50.
Here's your basic offense.
D'Angelo,
nice formation.
19 carries. This will be number 20. And D'Angelo has the 1st down.
That's the play that we spoke of before, the little misdirection, you know.
Some cramps for Pat Olenik. They're working on his left leg.
Giacomo goes one way and D'Angelo goes the other.
Well, this is the way that D'Angelo went for the 1st down.
Right. And this is the way he opened the game. There he goes. Finds a little seam, a little room. He doesn't need a whole lot. And then it takes about 4 or 5 people to bring him down.
1st and 10 from the Bears 46.
And you better tackle him because if you don't, he's going to keep on running.
This has turned into a very good football game. To Giacomo. Falls forward.
Same kind of dive play, you know, just quick dive, pop, trying to break a guy free. Got to about 4 or 5 yards, 2nd down and 5. That's not bad. Like I say, they're getting close to 4 down territory now.
For the Bears, Olenik is back in. Castaldo comes out. The Giacomo today, 26 yards on 8 carries. On the draw, they go to D'Angelo. D'Angelo came into the game with 814 yards on the ground. Well, he's already at the 130 mark. So he's, closing in on a 1,000-yard season today. He's got about 60 yards to go. We've got 42 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, what has been a very fast 3rd quarter of action.
Giacomo and D'Angelo, that's a good 1-2 punch. They block well for each other. Both of them very capable ball carriers. Both of them very tough kids.
Third and 4. Costigan in motion.
6 men up front.
Pitch to DiGiacomo. DiGiacomo running outside, and he carries 2 tacklers for a first down.
Seemed to know where that first down marker was too, didn't he?
And as you mentioned before, Bill, he is hard to bring down. And he actually carries, as you'll see on the replay, 2 tacklers for the first down.
Well, he sees the first down mark. He lowers his head, spins, drives, does everything he has to in order to get the first down. It took a great effort.
We've got a player down on the field for Verona. It is one of their linemen. I can't see who it is. Possibly Casal or McCormick. We have 13 seconds left in the third quarter. Brearley leads 21-14.
Brian McCormick is, if it is Brian McCormick, is the number 58. He's the son of the coach at Kearney.
Jack McCormick, fine baseball coach.
Right.
Now let's see who it is popping up. It is John Casal. Casal, a 2-year starter, and he is, from what I am told, a very good hockey goalie.
He's the only size they had up there. He's about 226. He's the only one that can match up reasonably well with the Brearley defense.
Boy, at 5'8", 226, he covers up the goal pretty well.
Little tank.
And with the clock moving after the injury timeout, we have now run out of time in the third quarter of play. We'll take a break with Brearley leading by 7 in this sectional semifinal.
Big Joe in Portico.
Cheering on the Bears through 3 quarters. Verona with 5 more first downs than Brearley. Rushing yardage fairly even at 159 to 145. Verona, however, has passed for quite a bit more yardage than the Bears. Total yardage 241 to 166. Each team with 2 turnovers that have loomed very big in this football game. One that prevented a Verona score and one that aided a Verona score in the third quarter.
Now that Verona has been able to run the ball reasonably well, I think we can look to see them put the ball up in the air again.
However, they go with the draw to D'Angelo. I don't recall seeing a team using a draw as often as Verona has today.
Well, they pass so much, and when you pass, you've got to have a good draw. And those backs are kind of made for that draw there. Tough little kids.
Possibly the final 12 minutes of this football game. If we need to, we'll explain a little bit about the overtime procedure.
Single back, man in motion right to the side of the tight end.
Pitch to
run away
D'Angelo.
from the motion.
And Travis Marshall had him for a moment, and then he breaks free for a gain of 2.
Travis Marshall did a good job of stringing that out. He couldn't maintain the tackle on the play, but he certainly did a lot to delay action for his friends to come up and make the final stick.
Watch for number 40 in blue. He fights off a block and does slow down the play
considerably.
And then Godotsky makes the tackle with help from Lynch.
Now, Verona kids know how important that this series is.
We've got an official timeout, I believe, just to check the sideline marker. I believe it should be third down.
I think so.
And that's what the officials are going to talk about. And now the marker has been changed. It is third down.
Brearley fans were getting a little excited.
This is, again, one of those big plays in this football game. I would dare say we have many more big ones to go.
This is 2 downs. They've got 2 downs. If they run it and get 3 or 4, well, they're not going to run it.
Well, Lombardi wants to throw. He throws it and he almost has D'Angelo. D'Angelo can't hold on. D'Angelo was covered by Tony Millis. You'll see on the replay, however, that Lombardi zips this ball past the defender.
Puts a lot of mustard on that ball, throws it well.
And that one's moving fast even in slow motion.
Yep, just couldn't hold on.
But as Bill mentioned, this is 4 down territory for the Hillbillies. 4th and 4.
It's on the 30-yard line.
Last time Verona had possession, they completed a big fourth down situation.
6 men up front.
Pitch to D'Angelo. Running right. D'Angelo crosses inside the 25 and will have a first down.
And a flag on the play. Thought I saw a flag on the play.
Well, here's another look at the play.
I guess he was just putting a marker down.
D'Angelo, 6 yards and a first down. The ball at the Brearley 24.
A lot of what you call money players on that Verona team. You're making the big play.
Well, the give to D'Angelo. Travis Marshall and Pat Olenek wrap him up.
Just no room to run that time. Good penetration. Olenek and Marshall got in the secondary, got in the offensive back.
Olenek is hoping to pursue a career in broadcasting, and to that end, he stopped by the set of Suburban High School Sports Report last week and watched as Steve Mayer hosted his award-winning show. Pat, fun person to talk to. We had a good time with him. Mark D'Angelo today, 146 yards. 2nd and 10. Lombardi looking left. He looks for Costigan, and Costigan can't hold on to the football. He's covered up by Ramos.
Lombardi put that ball right where he had to. Put the ball right where he had to. It's a little nippy out there. It might be a little, ball may be a little hard.
3rd and 10.
It's got 2 downs now. Ball's on the 25-yard line.
Just inside the 25. And the Hillbillies hoping to get probably half the yardage now, half on 4th down. 2 down territory.
Passing offense.
Twins right, twins left. Lombardi rolling left. He's forced from the pocket by Olenek, and he's going to try and keep the football. He maybe made a yard on the play as Mogensen and Travis Marshall wrap him up. But Olenek was the man who forced the play because he kept Lombardi from keeping in the pocket. Watch for number 69.
When you release 4 men as quickly as they did, actually they released 5 men, it's pretty hard to protect your quarterback. It's all man-to-man blocking, and we've mentioned it so many times, that defensive line from Brearley is so good. They're big and they're strong and they're mobile, and today they're a little hostile. So, that's a difficult formation to throw.
Lombardi looking right. Siragusa breaks into the backfield. The throw, it is in and out of the fingertips of Tom Kakuza. And on downs, the Bears will take over at their own 24. Here's another look at it. Siragusa forced the play from the pocket. And Kakuza couldn't hold on as he was covered by John Lynch.
Well, Lombardi's thrown the ball well this half, even the ones that were not complete. Many of them could have been or should have been completed.
John Lynch must like playing in front of the cameras. He's had 2 very good football games on TV3. Bears at their own 24. To give to Brian Chalensky. Casal wraps him up after 2.
Bears want to keep the football. They want to take time off the clock. They're up 7 points, and they've got a good running attack. They got fine running backs. They've got Stacy Marshall or Travis Marshall and Chalensky. Mike Ramos is also a running back, and, even though he's playing quarterback.
21 second quarter points still standing for the Brearley Bears. Verona scored in the odd quarters.
They've had trouble moving the ball the second half.
Twins right, Lynch and Squilaro. Ramos keeps the football, no one to pitch to. He will lose 3 yards back to the original line of scrimmage. Credit the tackle to Anthony Martino, 2-year varsity linebacker.
Martino had quarterback responsibility that time, and he maintained his his responsibility. Now, we mentioned before, the Bears haven't been able to move the ball too well the second half. This is the second time in a row they've had to give it up. The only thing that saved them the last time was that fake punt, and then they had to give the ball up.
3rd and 9. Ramos, 7 carries today. Let's see if he will keep the football. He's going to try and throw right. It will be complete. However, it will only be for 7 yards. As a matter of fact, it is an incomplete pass, as Blum could not hold on. Blum was hit hard after the reception, could not hold on to the football, and the Bears will have to punt it away with 7:53 left in the football game.
Now, that's 3 times the Bears have had an opportunity to move the football and have been unsuccessful. On the other hand, Verona has moved it once very successfully for a touchdown. Second time, they just came up a little short, and it wasn't because the right play wasn't called. They just dropped the ball twice.
Costigan and Fader back to receive Olenik's kick. Olenik gets it away. Fader will field it at midfield, and Fader will be dropped at the 49-yard line.
Verona fans wanted a spearing foul there, but there was no attempt to spear. There was no spearing. He just bumped him with his shoulder a little bit.
1st and 10 from the Hillbillies 49. On Thanksgiving Day, we've got a watch-on conference doubleheader for you. Linden and Union, you'll see that one at 5, and Friday at 8:30. And then we've got Rawway-Cranford. You'll see that one Thanksgiving night at 7:30 or Friday at 3:30. Watch-on conference doubleheader. Enjoy it while eating your leftovers.
Trip to the right.
They give to D'Angelo. Misdirection going left. D'Angelo will get 2. D'Angelo's first step was right, and then he turned and went left with the football.
What they're looking to, is to get everybody going off to where the trips are. Get the linebackers rotated to that side. Maybe they can split the defensive line and have room to run, but for whatever reason, Brearley didn't rotate.
For Verona, this is the 10th time they've had the football in this game, and this is the best starting field position they have had all day.
They've moved the ball pretty well.
Ball now on the Brearley side of the 50. Out of the eye. Lombardi looking to throw. He's looking for Fader. It is tipped away, but Fader still comes down with it. It is tipped by Godofsky, but Fader came up with the football at the 36. Watch the concentration of Mike Fader.
He's just a good athlete.
There, the tip and the
Doesn't
catch.
give up on the ball, holds the ball. He can play split end for me anytime.
Our camera operator, Craig Bush, in on the tackle on the sidelines.
First down. Verona's moving the ball now again. They're trying to make a good ball game.
Fader with his 4th catch from the 37. Pitch back to D'Angelo.
Now they go to the side of the stretch,
He gets a nice block, D'Angelo, from Costigan.
I mean, I would continue to do that as long as you don't get any rotation from the Brearley defense. They weren't successful running back to the weak side, but they seem to have a lot more success going to the strong side. And I think that's because Brearley just hadn't rotated tonight. I see Bobby Taylor yelling instructions in there. That might be what he's saying. Hey, move over, rotate.
D'Angelo, 155 today. It is DiGiacomo up the middle. And DiGiacomo will have a first down.
And he moves the pile, doesn't he? And he's moving some awfully big and good football players in there.
And just in case you're interested, there's not a rash of fires in Kenilworth today. It's a horn that is on the far side of the stands, brought by one of the Verona fans. We've got a timeout called by the Bears.
I think that's their second timeout.
16th first down of the day for Verona, and that is the second timeout used by Brearley in this half. Rich Sanfilippo and his Hillbillies in the huddle. They trailed by 7, 5:55 remaining.
Very much in this ball game.
Big game coming up for both teams on Thanksgiving Day. For Verona, they will host Cedar Grove for what will be the conference championship game for the Colonial Hills Conference. The Brearley Bears, on the other hand, in a non-conference game, will play Dayton Regional. Now, coming into today's playoff action, both teams were 8-0. Dayton is up in Morris County playing Dover today in Section 2, Group 2. So it is possible that both teams could come in at 9-0 on Thanksgiving Day.
And Cedar Grove, I believe, is 7-1, and they're playing today. They're playing New Providence, and should they win and Verona win, why, they'll meet for the state championship and the conference championship.
They would meet twice in 10 days.
Right.
First down from the 26-yard line. Just under 6 minutes remaining in the football game. Out of the I formation. The give to D'Angelo, running right. Play is strung out. And a nice play by Millis.
And I can hear that contact way up here. Good hitting.
Gain of 2 on the play. Here's a look at Mark D'Angelo, the senior.
He ran right into Corey Bull, number 44. Here comes Corey right now. Boom! Here he comes. 44.
Once again from the I. Lombardi looking across the middle for Fader. He throws into a crowd. 4 Brearley defenders all around Mike Fader.
The ball was there. Fader was there, and the defenders were there. They all got there at the same time.
Ramos, Lynch, Bowl among the Brearley Bears who are on defense on that play. 3rd and 8 coming up for the Hillbillies.
I think I'd put 2 men on Fader, too, if I were.
I'd put some of the band people, some of the boosters on him. Out of the I, twins left. Fake to D'Angelo. Looking for Costigan. Costigan got behind his initial coverage. However, on the play, that was Brian Chalensky who filled in behind. Now you'll see it at the top of your screen. Costigan gets around Godosky.
Looks like he's home free, doesn't it? Here he comes. Here comes a defender.
Here comes Brian Chalensky. And what a contact right there.
Yeah. Both of them going for the ball. Good, clean, hard defensive play. Well, 4th down and 8. This is a big play with 5 and a fraction, 5:14 to go.
4th and 8. Looking left. Now throwing across the middle. Too high for Costigan. And again on downs, Verona will give it back to the Brearley Bears. 5 minutes, 10 seconds remain in the football game.
Verona needs the ball if they're going to win. And there's no question in my mind that Brearley's going to try to run the ball out. They're going to try to run the 5 minutes off the clock. So I think we can see a whole lot of people up on the line of scrimmage, and that's what we do see. See a whole lot of people up on the line of scrimmage, and there he's going to throw the
toss
ball.
Right, looking for Blum, and he overthrows him by about 3 yards.
Great
Blum
call.
Had a chance. He was flying down the sidelines if he caught that one.
Bobby Taylor, great call.
Just thinking ahead a little bit, if Brearley does march downfield, Olenek is a very good kicker. We've seen him drill his extra points today. 3 points is very big in this football game. Makes it a 10-point ball game, and that makes it a 2-possession game. So a field goal, should Brearley get in such a situation, would practically ice this game.
Pat Olenek is a Division I kicker, according to Bobby Taylor.
Ramos rolling right, pitches back to Chalensky. Chalensky gets a good block from Stacy Marshall. He's still on his feet, and he's got 10 and a first down. A nice block by Stacy Marshall to open up Brian Chalensky to the outside. Watch for 2 things here, the late pitch and then the block of number 42.
Then the fine run by Chalensky. He stretches him out now. He's got good speed now.
There's Marshall still delivering the block outside. A gain of 12 on the play. For Brian, 82 yards today. He has a touchdown. Quick toss left for Blum. Blum, he loses man. Blum is past the 50. It's a foot race now between Blum and Fader. Blum turns inside, and he is dragged down by Chris Crawford.
Chris Crawford made a good recovery that time to prevent that touchdown.
Chris Crawford came off the line of scrimmage to come back and get Blum. Watch the 2 moves that Blum will make. One right here, and then later down in the run as he makes the move against Mike Fader. Here he is off to the races. There's Fader at the top of your screen, and what a pretty move here by Blum. And then a nice one-arm tackle by Chris Crawford.
Coming from the defensive end position.
From the 25, the give to Chalensky, and Chalensky has 4 to the 21. And now Brearley is in a situation where, on a 4th down, they might elect to go for a field goal to ice this football game.
Well, what they'd like to do is run a couple more minutes off the clock first. Well, actually, what they'd like to do is get in for a score. That's an official's timeout.
And now the clock moving as Stacy Marshall had an equipment repair to take care of.
4-minute indicator.
Yes. Clock on the move here. Give to Chelensky. Just a little bit of a bobble on the exchange between Ramos and Chelensky.
It's a dangerous point in the offensive play, the point of exchange. That's where, if you're a defensive player, that's where you want to make contact, right at that point.
3rd and 5. John Lynch bringing the play in. Squalaro heads to the sideline.
3rd and 5. He doesn't make it, and you may be right, Paul. We may see that field goal unit.
Twins right, Lynch and Blum. The give, no, the fake to Chelensky. Throwing left for Bowl. Bowl has a touchdown. Corey Bowl has only caught 5 passes this year, but 3 of them have gone for touchdowns.
You know, that's just a great call once again by Bobby Taylor. They're going man-to-man coverage. They have 8 men up front. They got man-to-man coverage on all wide receivers, and there's no way you're going to be able to handle those receivers man-to-man.
Olenek on to attempt the point. The placement is there, the kick on the way, and it is good. 28-14. Mike Ramos to Corey Bowl, a 21-yard touchdown pass for the score. Here's a look at Bowl hauling in the pass at the 2, and all he had to do was walk it in for the score.
Well, he sure fooled me. I never figured that he'd throw the ball. It's just a little bit out of character almost. For most people, you know, you're up by 7 points, you're down there where you can kick a field goal. You say, well, why take a chance at putting the ball up? Well, you take a chance because you play to win, and that's what he did.
3:05 left in the football game. Should Brearley hold on for the victory on the postgame? If you remind me, Bill, I'll ask Bob Taylor if he was thinking field goal if that play was not completed. Olenek will kick it away.
You know, you could ask him that, and then you might want to say, well...
Free ball, and now it's a touchback. Immediately in high school football, whether it is touched by anyone on the receiving team or not, as soon as it crosses the goal line, it's a touchback.
What do you do? You ask him, what do you do if that ball's picked off, you know?
Here's the scoring drive for the Bears. 6 plays, half on the ground, half in the air, 76 yards, and then Bowl hauling in the touchdown pass from Mike Ramos. 4 different players have scored for the Bears today. Stacy Marshall, Ramos, Chelensky, and Bowl. Quick toss outside. And complete to Lombardi. So Lombardi on the reception from Kakuza.
That means Lombardi, if it's a lateral, Lombardi can throw it downfield. I don't think that was a lateral. We may see the lateral now.
So Kakuza throwing to Lombardi for the first down. 2:44 and the clock is moving. Lombardi looking right. He gets it to DiGiacomo. There's a flag on the play for a clip. The lead blocker on the screen threw a clip as the defender tried to get around him.
Now, you got to see the numbers, you know. You got to see the numbers before you throw them. If you don't see the fella's front numbers, don't throw the block. If you can't see his chest numbers, don't. There's a clip, no question.
Casal with the clip on Millis.
A little anxious. Not a malicious clip, you know. Just a little anxious clip.
2:29 left in the football game. What a ball game. We've had over 500 yards of offense today.
great game from a spectator's point of view.
42 points. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this one.
It looked like Verona was getting right back in the ball game, didn't it, Paul?
And they certainly were for a while, but Brearley took advantage of a big drive with 5 minutes to go, and then the big touchdown pass from Ramos to Bowl.
You know, one of the considerations, one of the things I don't believe we noted was the fact that Brearley is a team that's completely seniorized, you know. All of these boys have played here. They've all been here before, you know. They didn't panic when they got behind. They didn't panic when Verona was coming. They kept their cool, they kept their poise, and they played like champions. They deserve to win.
Brearley has been in the playoffs now 4 consecutive years, winning the whole thing in 85 and 86, losing in the opening round last year. It appears right now they will be back in the final. Looking for Fader. Fader gets it. And Fader took a big hit from Godosky.
That boy's got nothing to be ashamed of. He's played a quality game. He's a good competitor.
He makes a good catch here.
He's made a lot of good catches, and he made that catch and held on to the ball in spite of the good hit.
I'm sorry, that was Chelensky who made the hit to knock him out of bounds. 2:07 left in the football game. Time running out on the Hillbillies. Again, they split everyone.
Hipper Dipper.
On the receiving end, Lombardi. Lombardi throws across the middle for DiGiacomo. DiGiacomo has to get 3 more yards, and he has it for a first down. So DiGiacomo does get across the 40 for a first down. Now that is a lateral from Kakuza to Lombardi, and then Lombardi passing to DiGiacomo. After the play, a flag has been thrown. Let's take a look at it. This is Kakuza playing quarterback. He tosses on the lateral to Lombardi. Watch number 15, DiGiacomo, crossing your screen. DiGiacomo on the receiving end. Now he's got about 3 yards to go here as he decides to go outside. He gets away from one tackler, and right there he has the first down, and then following the play, a personal foul against the Bears will add 15 yards.
Bobby Taylor wants to know why. I don't think he's disputing the call. He wants to know who it was.
Ball marked at the Bears 44. 1:53 left in the football game. Verona must score and then recover an onside kick. 4th penalty of the day. Lombardi looking to throw. He's forced from the pocket and dropped by Olenek. Olenek and the Chellis combine on the tackle.
I thought Lombardi played a good ball game. Threw a lot of strikes. I don't know what his statistics were. He's had a few balls dropped. He's made good decisions. He's handled the ball well.
Forced from the pocket, and Olenek continued the pursuit. Lombardi did get 4 on the play. There's a look at Pat Olenek. 2nd and 6. Lombardi looking to throw. Mogensen applying pressure. The pass is overthrown. Lombardi took a hit from Mogensen.
Fader was the intended receiver, and I guess I saw about 3 or 4 dark shirts right around Fader.
1:07 left in the football game. Lombardi on the day, since you asked, Bill, is 8 of 24 for 139 yards.
And about 3 or 4 drops.
It appears the playoff season will come to a close for Verona unless they can do something in the next 67 seconds. Brearley apparently will advance to the championship, which, as the top seed, they will host. Fake to D'Angelo, and then the screen to D'Angelo. We've got a flag on the play. Millis wrapping him up for a loss of 3 on the completion. We do have a flag. More than likely that's a hold, in which case Brearley would take the play, and it would be 4th down and 9, and it is a holding on Verona.
You know, you use these plays, and they're plays, they're desperation plays, I guess you'd call them, but when the defense knows they're coming, they lose their effectiveness. This is the kind of stuff that's most effective when it's used in along with your regular offense. But right about now, I'm sure Verona, they're doing everything they can to try to get a score, you know, but these kind of plays are so much more effective during the course of your regular offense.
Decision still waiting on the field. And as expected, Brearley will decline the penalty. They'll take the 3-yard loss. 28-14 our score, 59 seconds to go. And in a sense, the ball game boils down to this 4th and 9 play. This might be the last play of the ball game for all purposes. Thrown up. It is tipped around. It is incomplete. We do have a flag on the play. If it is interference, it would be a first down. However, remember, in high school rules, it's only a 15-yard penalty. It would not be the 20 yards of the pass.
Judging by number 8's reaction, I guess it was against the defense.
And that is the call. Pass interference, 15-yard penalty in high school, but it is an automatic first down.
Are you kidding me?
John, you made some great plays this game. You certainly played a good defensive ball game. You made an error that time.
18th first down for the Hillbillies. And there are still several more big plays left. 45 seconds to go from the 30-yard line. Verona may have to start throwing for the end zone. Lombardi will send it out for Fader, and it is tipped away by Ramos, but we have a pass interference on the play. Now let's see which way it goes. That is very important because it could possibly go against Fader. It is interference offense. Let's get another look at it. Here's the pass.
Watch Fader.
Fader.
Leaning a little heavy on that dark shirt.
Chalensky had position, and Fader knocked him down, even though Ramos eventually knocked the ball away.
Well, if he doesn't knock him down, he intercepts and the game's over. So you can say that was a foul that you had to give.
Exactly. By the way, that is a loss of down also. So it is 2nd and 25 for Verona. 40 seconds to go. Rich Sanfilippo and the Hillbillies, winners of 5 straight, including a big victory at Mountain Lakes last week. They have a big one coming up on Thursday for the Colonial Hills Championship against Cedar Grove. But it does appear that Brearley will be playing 2 weeks from today. D'Angelo on the draw. Olenek stayed in his position. Dropped D'Angelo after a gain of 1. Clock is on the move.
That's the mark of an experienced defensive lineman. And like we said before, why there are 11 experienced defensive people out on the field for Brearley right now.
Wide positioning. Kakuza looking to throw. He finds Lombardi. Lombardi is not going to get the pass off, and he's not going to get out of bounds. The clock is moving. 4 seconds to go. And the Brearley Bears, for the 3rd time in the last 4 years, have advanced to the championship of North Jersey, Section 2, Group 1. A well-played, hard-fought football game by both clubs. And our final score, Brearley 28, Verona 14. The Bears have a date 2 weeks from today at Ward Field. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a moment. Score as the Brearley Bears advance to the championship game in North Jersey Section 2 Group 1 with us several of the players from today's football game. Mike Ramos, first of all, 2 interceptions today. Let's talk a little defense. Possibly the biggest play of the game late in the action of the first half. Millis tips a pass away. You come up with the interception. The Hillbillies were threatening at that point, and if they put one up on the board, it's a 7-point ball game. How big was that as an interception for the Bears?
That was one of the biggest plays of the game. We called a timeout before that. We got in a huddle, and we said, if we stop them here, they're going to go in to halftime down. If they would have scored, they would have, it might have been a totally different ball game. They would have won halftime up. They've been ready to go. I think it shot them down a little bit.
Let me guess that on defense, the Hillbillies woke up the Bears a little bit when they scored 3 plays into the football game.
Yeah, I think they just kind of came out and shocked us a little bit. We were so pumped up and excited before the game. I think we were too excited. We forgot what we had to do, and everybody had to do their own job. We lost a little bit of that.
Well, Mike, thanks very much for coming by. Congratulations. Good day offensively and defensively, as was the day for Brian Chelensky. Brian, let me ask you pretty much the same thing I asked Mike. Verona gets out on the board 3 plays into the football game. As the team regrouped for the kickoff, what were the fellows saying to each other?
Well, we were just saying that after that we got to come back and get it right in their faces, because they put it to us and sort of embarrassed us a little bit. So we had to come back there with a good drive, and I guess we did it all right.
And also the big interception at the end of the half. They were starting to drive again. They seemed to have a little bit of speed, although Brearley certainly had the size. Was their speed a little bit of a trouble for the Bears defense today?
I don't think so much of speed. They were just getting around the outsides because we had our corner all the way off. And we had 2 linemen down there, and they were just running outside the tackle. So when they got outside the tackle, they got past our corner, too, because he was over there. So they just, the linebacker had to catch up to him, and that's how they got the yardage, I guess. All
right, well, Brian, thanks very much for coming by. Congratulations. Elio, step on in here. Elio, this is a Brearley team that has not trailed very much all season, except for Roselle and New Providence. When Verona took that early lead, was there even a little bit of worry on the team? Obviously, still very early in the football game.
Well, we kind of came up all together and said we got the whole game, It was only the first couple minutes in the game, and we knew that we're a second-half team. We come together as a group, and we did it.
They mixed up their plays well, running and passing quite often. At any point, did they give you trouble because they were pretty much balanced?
Yeah, we were kind of shifting around, going here and going there, and it all kind of worked out once you got to know what they were doing.
All right, well, Elio, thanks very much for coming by. Congratulations. Bob Taylor, step on in here. Bob, I meant to ask you this, and I'm going to do it right away. Late in the ball game, before Bowl catches the touchdown pass, if that's an incomplete pass, do you bring on Olenek to try a field goal and pretty much ice the game with a 10-point lead at that point?
Oh, yeah, we have a lot of confidence in Pat, and that certainly would have been one of our considerations at that point, without a doubt.
And obviously a great call in that you go to the pass when I think everyone in the stands was expecting run, but that's pretty much the Bears' offense this year. You can do both the run and the pass.
Yeah, we got bogged down a little bit in the second half with our field position, and they did a real nice job. Let's give them some credit. They really came to play, and I think they're a real fine representative of their community for the playoffs, without a doubt. And I just certainly have to give a lot of credit to their football staff, because some of the things that they did strategically I thought were excellent.
The games just keep getting bigger. On Thanksgiving Day, a Dayton club, which as far as play began today, was also unbeaten, as you are.
Well, we're taking them one game at a time, and we're not sending any messages. We're just going to play whoever shows up.
All right, Bob, thanks very much for coming on. Bill Horry, come on in here for a moment before we have an announcement for the entire Brearley football team. Bill, a great football game, and the 2 big plays, the interception right before the end of the half, and then the touchdown pass to Bowl, which iced the game, made it a two-touchdown game.
But the thing about this game was there was so much darn good hitting all through the game, number one. And the thing that impressed me the most about these Brearley kids was the fact that they never once lost their poise, They played like champions. They played like the coach indicated. They played with a lot of class. They played like champions. They just never let up. They hung on.
Well, they are the conference champions. On Thanksgiving Day, they will go against Dayton. And, gentlemen, I don't know if you know it or not, but 2 weeks from today, you'll meet the New Providence Pioneers, who won today. And obviously, no need to tell you that that's the matchup both schools have been looking for since game 1 of the season. Well, that's the one 2 weeks from today. For today, our final score once again, Brearley 28, Verona 14. Brearley advances to the championship of North Jersey Section 2, Group 1. Good night, everyone.